What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Martini Motorsports. Still working on the Lincoln. I think in the last video I ended up showing you guys kind of a plan of what I had for the subframe connectors, and I welded the plates. I had one plate welded on for the back frame back here, and we were under the car, and I showed you how that was going. So since then, I've scrapped the idea of having two race cars. So we ended up scrapping all the Lincoln parts, the LS parts, and the whole other Lincoln chassis. But all that body and stuff was sitting on this nice chassis jig that's been in my trailer for months, and now we got a chance to use it, and it's going to work out well for this car. Once we're done with the subframe connectors here, we're going to start doing some body work and at least get the thing all in black epoxy primer. And this is going to use it to go into my trailer and strap down and to make it mobile. All the stuff we got to do with it before it becomes an actual roller. So stay tuned. We're getting a lot of use out of this thing. It also makes it easy to push around and work around, and just at a good height. It's good. It's level on there. So let's go in where I showed you guys in the last video. Let me turn the camera around. So we're inside the car now. On the last video, I showed you guys how we welded these plates in, and we cut the box out, and so the subframe connectors go up here. You see how I've opened this passage. Now here's the front frame rail that ends here under the car, and I've showed you in the previous videos how that's stitched up, which you see the burns. So we cut about 1 inch out of the center of that. It's actually one of these ribs. We cut the floor out of that rib, and that's what you're left with. And it tunnels all the way through the rail inside of it up to the front. Also open this floor brace up just to accept the tube and bend the top back down and weld it once it's over. What we're using here is just a piece of, it's 5 feet exactly for both sides, 1 5/8" chromoly. Same thing the cage is going to be done in. So let me turn this camera around far in there. You guys can see how that goes in. So basically you got to start at the front because this bar fits up inside the rail. And it lays down. You got to keep resetting it till you get this gap tight. But I'm just going to show you guys how that kind of fits down in there. So it's going to get fully welded around back there, and then welded down to the floor over here and up around there. So that's what's going to tie this all together. It's going to make it very strong, yet not add too much weight because it is pretty thin chromoly tubing. And I'm going to go to the other side of the car now because I have it completely welded in. And also these plates back here, so that you got to clean the caulk up like I've done in the other side and clean an area to weld, and then weld these plates in. And I'll show you why on the other side. Let's go to the other side because I have it finished. Now you can see that it's all the way up into this rail now, the subframe connector, about where the back of the K-member will bolt. So here's the finished product. Completely welded around. These plates are put in. And basically the roll bar cage will start off probably somewhere around here. So the main hoop will be set after we get it in epoxy. Same thing with the front. The front of the 10-point cage will probably start around here somewhere and come up, obviously. So it gives us a strong foundation. MIG welded the shit out of it. And then the way that it is, you can't get a weld all the way around that piece. And I've angled these pieces up purposely just to get welding around it. And it's not going to hurt nothing. If anything, it's going to make the pipes going up a little shorter and maybe be a little less weight. We're talking ounces here, buddy. And then you see how it's stitched. The floor is just maybe like 1 to a 1 1/4 inch long stitch, just stitched to the floor where that rib was cut out. And then all the way around. It's really hard to clean. As you can see, they have this foam from the factory that's sandwiched in between the steel here. So just do the best you can. It's more important to get these ones down here. And that thing is so jammed up in there. And then this was welded around. This one ended up being a little higher, so it needed a little piece because it didn't have enough to go over it. That'll all get covered by the seat. Nobody's ever going to see this stuff. So that's that. It's going to look good. It's going to be purposeful. It's going to be consistent with the cage. It's not going to be too heavy. From underneath the car, it's going to look factory because of the floor pan. So it's also better than the underneath connectors, I think, because you're centering the weight higher, which the car may or may not like. We'll see. So there you have it. One side's in, and I'll be getting to this other side probably in the morning, but this side was all figuring out and cutting, and that side's it's just ready to go pretty much. So this side a whole day, that side maybe 3-4 hours tops. I'll have that licked, so that'll be pretty good. A lot of weight off my shoulders there, knowing that the foundation is almost complete. And on the epoxy paint and body for this shell, so that the shell can end up going back on this chassis machine to get the cage welded in. 10-point Rhodes cage. I'll shoot a picture of those will be all welded down. That'll be all welded down to my subframe connectors. I did have parts of that cage in and out of the car probably a dozen times, which I don't show in the video, just to see, even with the seat, with my seat in here mocked up. And that's why I left the gas pedal in there, because I could kind of see where I'm gonna fit, and I could fit myself, and I didn't want to have the main hoop too far up or too far back, stuff like that. So that was all mocked up, and I sat in the car with the main hoop in it before I decided to put this piece of pipe in. So it's in the wrong location. When you're welding off that pipe, you put it in the wrong spot, and you go to put the seat in the car, and the main hoop's too far or too close. You just never know. So it's always good. You can't go too far with mocking stuff up, guys. I mean, and you'll see that probably in my other videos. If you've seen, even with the front of this car, to get these, to get the Team Z front end on, it looks like it's easy, right? You just weld it up. No, we haven't even got to the motor yet, and I mocked up the motor, just bolted it in with the headers, because I do have custom headers for my other car that we will be we're using with this car. And I wanted to get all that in there before I put this tube front end on, because I didn't want any of that to interfere with this. So, okay, we even had to put the fenders and everything on the car. I wanted to make sure the headers would exit the fenders in the correct locations, and just everything was kind of loosely mocked up or vice gripped on to the car, just to get the bar locations. Even if the parts aren't perfect from side to side, you know, sometimes they can't be. And you go and do that, and the parts ain't gonna fit. So mock-ups are necessary. But it's square. We had this on the chassis bench, so we had the jig underneath it, and I strike the center line with the vehicle. So we are all good. I think one of these brackets ended up being shorter than that one, and I don't know why. Maybe a variance in the header panel, which is a fiberglass part, which wasn't the same from side to side. Some of the things in the grill mount area are the same way. So subframe connectors are done. They look good, they're functional, and we'll be moving on to this one in the morning. Till the next video.